a good part of me believing in Jesus Christ because I want it to be true. Just the idea of just like this amazing God loving his children the way the way he does, you know. I'll say this. As far as tangible facts, and I guess this is the only instance, or one of the instances of me not relying heavily on facts, is when it comes to the tangible facts of Jesus Christ existing, I don't have those. I will say it's based on faith.
Okay. Faith.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's keep talking. That's all right. Let's have another one, if that's okay with you. Like you said, you got nothing else going on. So, do you want to? You brought up Jesus a couple times. Do you want to talk about Jesus? Is that something you feel really confident in, or?
Yeah, I do. I will say, you know, I read the Bible, but you know, I'm still in the process of like, I can't reference things. That would be my biggest issue. So like, I could talk about the Bible, but like when it comes to like giving like proof and like factual things, I wouldn't be able to do that as strong because that's one of the things I'm working on in my life is like, so like, let's say the other day, right? This doesn't have anything to do about Jesus, but you can apply it to the same topic. I was talking to some friends and we were talking about like conspiracy theories, and we don't have to go into conspiracy theories, but my big thing is when it comes to any like conspiracy theories, I want to give facts as to why I believe this and that and this and that. And I guess I didn't do enough research on that conspiracy theory we're talking about, so I was like, I can give you what I think, but I can't tell you the factual. So I only know a good amount of facts when it comes to like Jesus Christ. But I do believe in him, but I don't know everything, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, no, that's totally fine, yeah. These interviews I do with people, I don't expect them to necessarily be experts on everything that we talk about.
Yeah.
I mostly am just interested in why people believe the things they believe and how they believe the things they believe. Does that make sense? Like what their thought process is. And I want to figure out, is the way that they're thinking about things a good way to think about things? Is that a reliable way to come to like true beliefs? Does that make sense? So like when you talked about like the conspiracy theory sort of thing, like did you find that after talking about it, you maybe were less confident that it was true? Because you kind of said like, I don't know if I really have enough facts for this. Like,
so we were talking. Okay, so what we were talking about. So we moved from a lot of things, but I'll say this: the friendship between me and those individuals weren't as strong, so I gave surface level answers, you know? Meaning I didn't go in depth and give them my true opinion, you know? We talked about abortion, and we don't have to go into that if you don't want, but I just said that both sides has a good point of view or a good argument. Meaning I didn't answer the question. I didn't say I agree with this side or this side. I just gave you something that...
It's okay to not know.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm all for... I'm a science teacher, actually, so... I think it's totally okay to say, hey, you know what? I don't really know on some stuff. I hope to learn more, you know? Yeah, so, like, don't worry. I won't judge you if you don't know. Yeah, so yeah, having... And I hope that during this conversation, you don't feel like you have to stay at, like, surface level stuff. Like, we can go deep. Actually, I really would prefer to go deep if you're okay with it.
Yeah,
so,
I am.
All right.
So being here and then just knowing the fact that your purpose is to talk about like more not surface things and go deeper into it.
Yeah.
I am open to going deep, but that's after we've talked about that and we're okay with that, you know.
Yeah.
With them, we've never established the fact that like, you know, we're not that close as friends.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. When you're with acquaintances, sometimes you don't want to go really deep into stuff until you really get more comfortable with the person or anything like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that is one of the challenges of having these interviews sometimes. But sometimes I feel like if somebody's a total stranger and we don't even know if we're ever going to see them again, sometimes we're like more willing to be open and honest with them because it's like, well, if they disagree with me and think I'm wrong, who cares? I don't even know who that guy is, right?
I agree.
You kind of said we're talking about being religious to a certain extent or something like that. Is there a certain way you would like to phrase that? Like, is it that you believe in a certain religion, or is it something about like God or Jesus specifically that you want to talk about?
I'll say this, you know, I see people go on like, you know, interviews or before the camera, you know, in any situation, they'll say they believe in God. It's like, I don't understand why anyone says they believe in God anymore. That's why I said Jesus specifically. because I feel like God has become like water. Like, who is God? You know, it's like, you ever think of that? Like when somebody go on like in front of a camera, they say, "I believe in God." I'm like, what God do you believe in exactly? You know?
Yeah, there are lots of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and people can mean really different things by that term. So, so you want to talk about more about Jesus specifically, right? Is there a thing you believe about Jesus specifically that you would want to talk about?
well, okay, so we can talk about Jesus specifically, and I can go into that. But I kind of like the idea of just like talking about like the idea how like everybody talks about God, but I don't think like when a celebrity goes on and they say, "I believe in God," or "Thank God for this," I think they'd be better saying, you know, I think what Muslims believe in Allah or something like that.
Yeah, it's just their word for God.
Yeah. I guess whoever you're talking to specifically, like I would say, like when I would say, thank Jesus Christ for this, you know, because I believe in Jesus Christ.
Being more specific.
Yeah, be more specific. So at least give your God the credit, you know.
Okay,
Name him or something.
that's fine. All right, so Jesus Christ. So when you say I believe in Jesus Christ, is there something you specifically believe about Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
Like, what is, like, if you could make that like kind of like a topic sentence if you're writing an English paper, like what is it you believe about Jesus Christ?
Free will, you know. I think the fact that Jesus Christ gave humanity the choice. You can either serve me, or you don't. If you don't want to, you can't, or not serve me, you know. But you know, if you do serve me, you know, I believe we'll go up to heaven and, you know, live an amazing lifestyle.
So would you say that like Jesus Christ is God?
It's they're one. I believe Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and
okay. So like, are you a particular kind of like Christian then? Like, do you have like a denomination or a type of Christianity that you follow, or is it more just you believe Jesus is God? Jesus, the Trinity, is that it, right? Jesus, perfect. God the Father and the Holy Spirit, yes. Right? So would you say I believe in God as the Trinity, including those three things?
Yes, okay. I don't have a denomination, but I do know what you mean when you say denomination. I've never gotten into that though. I just believe in the Bible, whatever's in the Bible, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so if I was going to kind of encapsulate what we got so far, you're saying, I believe there is God, and God is like a Trinity, Jesus, God, or God the Father, or however people say it, and the Holy Spirit, right? Okay. Before we really get into the reasons, and we can come back to that reason, you said something about the Bible. Kind of similar thing, right? We already established that you want to believe, or it's important for you to believe in true things at a 7 out of 7.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so same thing, 1 to 7. How confident are you that this God is real?
7. You know?
7 out of 7. Okay.
I would say maybe in the way that I live my life, sometimes you could say it's probably like a 4 or 5. Only because, you know, I sin on a daily basis. So I would say in that way. But I've never questioned Jesus Christ's ability. I'm going to say Jesus Christ instead of God, but I never questioned whether Jesus Christ is real or not. The only thing is, I've gotten mad at Jesus Christ. You could say that, and I'd say like when I was younger, I don't believe in you because you didn't let this happen, or you let this happen, you know, or something like that. And that was just due to anger, not necessarily for the fact that I didn't believe he was real.
Okay. So you say you've never questioned whether Jesus is real before.
No.
Why do you think that is?
You know, I think it just makes sense, you know? Yeah, sure. I will say I took a class on but that was humanity. It wasn't necessarily religion. I do have to go do the research on other religions, not to change my religion. Well, that's my idea of it, but only because I want to understand why they think that they do, and what's the reasoning. Because Christianity or Jesus makes sense to me, but why does Muslims' faith make sense to them? You know?
Yeah. So other people in different religions could say it just makes sense to them.
Yeah.
So, do you think it just making sense is a good reason?
No. Obviously, there's reasonings behind it. Okay, so out of all the prophets,
yeah. So maybe before we dive into one, maybe think about you could list a few of the reasons why you believe this is true.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could try to identify the strongest reason or the best reason you have for believing it's true. So you just want to give me a bullet point list if you can.
Yeah.
If you can't, or if one springs to mind right now and you're like, this is the main reason, I think.
I have a reason, but I feel like I'm gonna go into it. So, but you
That's
want
okay.
just, like,
We will go into it. Don't worry. I just want to make sure it's something that's important, right?
Yeah. I'll say, out of all the prophets, Jesus Christ is the only one that we know have lived, and we have proof. As far as like anybody who has lived in the past that we don't have, pictures of. The proof that we have is the fact that we have a bunch of people saying that they've lived,
Okay.
and a bunch of people's stories are lining up. We have proof that Jesus Christ has lived, and yet we don't know where his body is. Yet all the other religions, we know their prophets have lived, and we do know where their prophets are buried. So if Jesus Christ was buried on earth, our religion would be a whole hoax. Without Jesus. Yeah.
So, do we know where the Buddha is buried?
I believe every prophet is buried in some place.
Okay.
You see, and that's one of the things that I don't have the exact details on.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of the other religions might not claim that their prophet came back to life, I suppose. So.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so proof, we know Jesus lived. That's currently the biggest thing. Is it possible Jesus lived but wasn't God?
So, okay. And that goes to the basis and the very core of the Christian belief.
Yes.
All the science has to do is find Jesus Christ's body, and you could say Christianity is a joke, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because if you find Jesus Christ's body, you see, in the Bible it says Jesus Christ rose, from earth and went to heaven. Well, first he went to hell to try to save those people, and then he rose. But if you could find Jesus Christ's body, I guess you could say that the whole Christian faith is a hoax.
Okay.
I guess because
I'm just trying to imagine how we would know. Like if we found a body, let's just say that we did find. Let's say that we did find his body. Just hypothetically.
Yeah.
Maybe Christianity is not true. We find a body. Some people say that this is Jesus Christ's body. How would we know that it was his body?
Great question.
Is there a way we would know?
Yeah. So in the Christian faith, that Jesus Christ died, and rose. So that's why his body has never been found. But you think about in the moment when Jesus Christ was dying, a lot of people wanted to kill him for what he believed, and then even after he died, a lot of wars happened, and even before he died, a lot of wars happened, proving that Christian isn't real, religions fighting other religions. But instead of people actually fighting those wars, all they would have to say is because they knew what Jesus looked like, because he would walked around and traveled to different places and spoke about his belief. If they could just find his body after he died and say, this is your God, or this is Jesus, you said he rose, but he's right here.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying. Let me see if this makes sense. Jesus lived, and presumably died, and I think you're saying the reason you think he is God is because he came back to life, right?
Yes.
Resurrected.
Yes.
And are you saying the main reason you think that he resurrected is that we don't have his body, or we can't find it, or we didn't find it? Maybe.
I would say the main reason why I think he rose is to take away our sins. He died on a cross with our sins, and when he rose, all of our sins went away.
And there are theological reasons why, why explanations for why that might have been necessary.
Yeah.
But I'm asking about why do you believe that he is God, right?
Yeah.
Is that the main reason because he resurrected?
No, not per se. I
Okay.
guess if you want to go into actual reasoning, it's more of the free will thing, the fact that he's giving everybody the chance to believe in whatever you want, but if you believe in him, he promises you everything in the world, and he will be your father.
Okay.
And I don't think there's any other religion that offers people the free will as much as Jesus Christ does,
Okay.
And just
So, are you saying that it's true that we have free will, and that's how you know that Jesus is God? Or are you saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Or are you saying that you would prefer to believe Jesus is God because he promises free will and you want to have free will, or?
Yeah, and I believe in the afterlife and going to heaven
Okay.
and everything like that. So I guess that would be another reason.
Okay.
And you're probably looking for tangible reasons,
Yeah,
'Cause-
kind of like you said earlier when we had our earlier conversation, like, we want to make sure that if we really care about believing true things, like at a 7 out of 7,
yeah,
we want to make sure that we're talking about like facts and logic,
Exactly.
right? Not
I
just
get that.
feelings, right?
Yeah.
So whether we want it to be true or not, does that have any impact on whether it is true or not?
I do think so.
Okay,
I think
how so?
a good part of me believing in Jesus Christ because I want it to be true. Just the idea of just like this amazing God loving His children the way the way He does. I'll say this. As far as tangible facts, and I guess this is the only instance, or one of the instances of me not relying heavily on facts, is when it comes to the tangible facts of Jesus Christ existing, I don't have those. I will say
Okay.
it's based on faith.
Okay. Faith.
yeah.
All right.
But
Okay, and this can be a tricky word because different people can use it differently. Kind of like we said earlier about people mean different things by God. So, what does faith mean to you when you say so? Is like faith the way that you're getting at the belief?
yeah,
Okay, what does that mean? What does it look like to use faith to believe something?
the backbone in whatever your belief system, the reasoning. It's like, I don't mean to use this, but like if you talk about a relationship, what holds it together? The base, what you guys did before you got in a relationship. I think that's what your faith is. It's what ties everything together because it's the reason why you believe in that. And I guess that's my faith, when it comes to Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus Christ. It's more of a feeling, I guess going back to how I feel.
So it's more of a feeling.
Yeah.
So faith is like past experiences and like, once again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to make sure I understand what you're saying. So that's why I kind of repeat sometimes. So faith is like a feeling you have based on previous experiences.
When you say
Or-
previous experiences, I guess you could be right. I just don't know what that means per se.
Okay.
But I guess you could say it's because of previous experiences why I believe in Jesus Christ. Because I guess you could say that I'm tying it together.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So, like, what sort of previous experiences have you had?
Well, I didn't grow up with much. But I worked hard. And I believe in Jesus Christ, and I do fairly well for myself now. And I give a lot of that credit to Jesus Christ, to
Okay.
getting me to where I am now.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you believe in Jesus. Things have gotten better for you. And you give credit to Jesus, and that's kind of that faith experience. Is that kind of what it means to like use faith as? Okay, I just want to make sure we kind of understand what that means.
Yeah.
Could so like is there another religion you can think of that like you don't think is true, or is less true than Christianity or Jesus? Or
I would say the only one that I'd say their God doesn't have any power is like, I guess the only one I can say for sure is like Satan.
okay,
Yeah. Satanism, I guess.
okay. So are you saying that other gods do exist and have power, or
No, I think there's one God.
Oh, okay. So like Hindus believe in a lot of gods, like Krishna is one of them, right? I'm pretty sure. So I'm imagining somebody, a person who's like a Hindu, and maybe they grew up with not a lot, and they pray to Krishna, they believe in Krishna, and they come to the United States and their things improve for them. They start to make a life for themselves and get an education, and the whole time they give credit to Krishna.
Yeah.
Would that sort of faith be a good way for that Hindu to know that Krishna is a god and is real and is true?
In that sense, they, as far as them giving, like, having credibility for their faith being true, it would be a strong credibility, and then it would beg the question: what makes my God different from Krishna? And and that's the part where I will be honest, I don't have the research on that. I don't know for sure. I'd have to go do more research on that. But yeah, that's the one things I do not know, and I do have to go do more research on.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering, like, if like me as a third person, if I just want to know what's true, right? And I hear you tell your story and your faith journey and things that have happened in your life, and I hear this Hindu tell their story and what's happened in their life.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how I could figure out, if either of you are believing something true, because if it's true that Jesus is God, I want to believe that, and if it's true that Krishna is God, I want to believe that, because I, like you, value true things at a 7 out of 7.
Yeah.
I think having my beliefs be true is very important to me.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if there's anything we could do to learn more about those.
Yeah, and it's one of the... Okay, so I won't go too much in depth because I actually don't have too much of the facts. But in order to understand that, you would have to go back to the history of religion, where it came to be. You see, Christianity was never really a thing per se. It was more so following and believing in Jesus Christ,
Okay.
Just you either believed in Jesus Christ or you didn't. I don't think they necessarily referred to themselves as necessarily Christians. I think that's just something that came to be.
At some point, it happened, yeah. Right.
But I guess you would have to go into the history and see where religion came from and where it originated from,
Okay. So maybe there's a way we could look at history to learn more.
What came first? What did it come after? A lot of the religions are based off of Christianity,
Yeah. So so if a religion is, are you saying that if a religion is older, then it's more likely to be true, or
I guess I could see how that could.
If that's not what you're saying, that's fine. I'm just checking.
It would have some credibility. The fact that it's older and it's been around. I would say it gives it some credibility. I don't think it necessarily makes it right. It just gives it some credibility.
Gives it some credibility.
Okay. I guess you would have to find out the origin story and see where it came from, per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's obviously like Judaism and Israelite religion is older than Christianity.
I do agree.
Right?
Yeah.
I think Hinduism is older than at least Christianity. Maybe Hinduism is even older than Judaism. I'd have to look. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's pretty old.
Yeah.
I think Buddhism kind of like came from Hinduism somewhat. It's so it's a little younger, I think. So
what was Israel recognized as for their religion? I guess around BC, before Christ.
So it depends on when you're talking. Like scholars, I think, call it Judaism at a certain point, like after the exile.
Okay.
I believe, and prior to that, what like historians and scholars will say is they call it like Israelite religion before then, because it was kind of different. There's like Judaism only started after the Jews returned to Israel from like the exile, I think.
Okay.
So those are kind of like two terms that get used sometimes, but it's not really super important right now. But so faith is an important part of how you believe this, and then you said maybe if faith can get us two different answers, like somebody who's a Hindu could use faith, and somebody who's a Christian who could use faith, and somebody who's a Muslim could use faith, and then maybe we need to look at history to establish credibility. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Which of those two things do you think is more important, or maybe a more reliable way to know if a religion is true?
And you're saying either faith or history.
Those are two of the ones you've mentioned. Maybe there's something else.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, that is a great question. Which one is more important, faith or history?
Yeah. Which way should, if I was wanting to know which religion is true, where should I start there? Should I just start having faith in a religion, or should I look at the history first, maybe?
I will say faith is what causes you to believe in a God, but you have to base it on some, tangible facts,
Okay.
You can't just believe in something just because, you heard it and you went to church your whole life and you said that this is true. And it's definitely something I have to work on, because I didn't know that I didn't have the facts as to prove as to why I believe my religion is real and why others are not. I guess you would then have to go into do the research to see the origin story. Like I'm not saying Christianity came from Judaism or anything like that, because I don't have the facts to say that. But let's say it did, and then you just tie it back to where it started, the origin of the belief of following Jesus Christ, believing in God, the God that I believe in, and then tie it back and say, why does this one make sense? Okay. I think that's something somebody has to do. So I guess you could say history, really.
History?
Yeah,
okay.
or intangibles.
Yeah. And when we're talking about like history, like I'm wondering what what we could learn from history that would make us really confident that a religion is true. Like what sort of thing would we learn that would do that for us?
So I guess the best thing to look at was when Jesus Christ was on earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think there's anybody who's done the things that he's done when he was alive. And how do you know it's true? Is because when he did, I guess people would call it magic, but I just call it him being him. He would bring people back from, like, bring the dead to life, you know. But you would have thousands of people saying the same exact story, you know, following up. And
okay, so like miracles, is that kind of what you're saying?
Miracles,
okay,
yeah.
so like miracles that Jesus performed might be a way to know.
Yeah.
And how would we know that a miracle that we read about, like in the Bible, for example, how would we know whether that miracle actually happened or not?
If it can be backed up by a source, you know.
Okay.
If people can say that they seen it and they it could be backed up by what they saw.
Because I'm just thinking, like, I think there are miracle stories about lots of gods, right, that are written down. Depending on what you're reading, the Buddha might have done miracles, or various Hindu gods, or Muhammad. I think there are miracle stories in the Quran about Muhammad performing miracles. So, is the fact that it's written down by somebody, is that a good way to know that is what happened?
I'm not saying yes to that question, but I guess, you know, I feel like if anything happens, it needs a tangible source, you know. And if many people could say that they've seen it and the same thing happen, and you ask them independently, and they say that happened, I would say it does gives it some foot to stand on.
So if we had a lot of people saying the same thing,
Yeah.
and they were like independent, then that would make us more confident, possibly.
Yeah.
But let's just say if we only had one person wrote something down, we only have one source for something, would we be then less confident that actually happened?
I would say so. I would say so, sadly.
Okay. Yeah, because once again, I mean, we just want to know what's true, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to believe things if they're not true, or at least I don't. I think I don't know. Do you agree with that too? That
No, I agree.
you don't want to believe things that are false?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it kind of goes along with the true things are important.
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of with that in mind, we've talked a little bit about faith. We talked a little bit about history, a little bit about miracle stories.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like the things that is there anything else that you can think of
When it comes to faith,
Yeah, or just like your belief. Like what is the main thing that's getting you to a 7 out of 7? Is it those three things mainly, or is there anything else, or are these the main strongest reasons?
I would say those are the strongest reasons.
Okay.
Although I probably should work on the tangible things.
The tangible things, yeah. Yeah, I think those tangible things we valued those in our previous conversation, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like these reasons, the faith and history and the miracle stories, are those good enough reasons to be at a 7 out of 7?
I would say no.
Okay.
I do think, although my faith, I'm pretty strong in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I do serve Jesus Christ, I don't think it's enough to be at a 7 out of 7. I do think I should do more research and understand the reason why I believe in what I believe in.
Like maybe we can't be absolutely certain that this happens, right? If like 7 out of 7 is like I'm 100% sure, then maybe a different number. Okay. Well, how do you think this conversation went?
I think it went pretty good. It taught me a lot, at least. That like maybe I should do a bit more research on my religion and understand why I believe what I believe in. You know?
Yeah, maybe you'll find you discover even better reasons for believing it.
Yeah.
If you do more research, read some more, read some more books and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm glad that you felt like it went well.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like you're at a 7 out of 7 on the importance of believing true things?
As far as like being backed up by tangible things.
Yeah, or just that you want your beliefs to be true, right? Like, do you still feel really strongly that you want to believe in true things and don't want to believe in false things?
Yeah, I do feel strongly about that.
Okay.
Like I feel like if I believe in Jesus Christ and when I die I don't go to heaven, there's no hell, I would have felt played, you know, in a way, because you know it's just definitely a reason to. It gives me a reason to live, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit more too. But before we do, do you still feel like you're at a 7 out of 7 on Jesus being God, or do you think you might be at a slightly different number now?
My faith is strong, and I do believe Jesus is God in that in the Trinity. But I would say, off of my faith alone, I would say it's probably not the healthiest thing for me to just believe it without having anything tangible to tie it to.
Okay.
So like you could say a 5 out of 7. But I would just need more tangible things to tie it to in order to discuss in an instance like this.
Yeah, so maybe if you had more tangible things, more things that you felt really strongly are facts, then maybe it'd be back up, right, 6 to 7, and okay. And maybe if you can't find those things, what do you think might happen then?
Man, you know, I guess I'd never imagined a life of me not believing in Jesus Christ. So...
Yeah, you said that earlier, that you'd never really questioned that before.
I never,
so.
you know, I always believed strongly in my faith.
Yeah.
And I'll say, even when I didn't believe in him, it wasn't because I questioned his existence. It's just the fact that I got mad, you know? So,
yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of a different thing, isn't it? Like, when I get mad at my wife, I don't question whether she exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I enjoyed that conversation. I thought that one was interesting too. So,
I did too.
First of all, I've got a card here for you.
Okay.
If you want to check out my channel,
Navigate with Nate.
Navigate with Nate. Yep.
Okay.
I'm on YouTube there, and there's a QR code you can scan, and then on the back there's some information about what I'm doing here.
Okay.
Interviewing people about their strongly held beliefs and trying to help them think about why they believe them.
Yeah.
It's called Street Epistemology. So. There's another QR code and a website there. You can check that out. So if you liked having a conversation like this and thought it was productive, then I encourage you to look into it. Maybe you can have more conversations with your friends like this.
No, I definitely agree. I'll definitely have to do some research on the religion thing. Cause I never thought about it. Like
it's always good to... It can... In my opinion, it can never hurt to try to learn more.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you know, once again, I want to know what's true, and even if that truth is uncomfortable, you know, I'd still rather know what's true than believe something that maybe isn't. So,
yeah. And you know what got us to this conclusion? Freedom of speech.
Yeah. Yep. Look at that. We can do this in America, can't we? That's great. All right. Awesome. So, Oneel, right? It's awesome. Great meeting you.
You too.
If you want to have another one later and I'm not talking to anybody, feel free to come on back. And maybe I'll be back here occasionally here before it turns too cold.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great discussion. And
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck with senior year and, you know, finding jobs and all that all that stuff you got to do there. And with graduation and leaving college and all that. So.
I actually already found the job.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you. I guess it's just getting ready for life now, you know?
Yep.
It feels so different, you know?
It does feel different, but it's good. It's good. Yep. I enjoyed college, but I also enjoy everything I got going on now, so.
I would say that part kind of like scares me.
It is scary.
Just growing up, just not being like, I don't want to say a child anymore, but just like, just have to be an adult, you know?
Yeah. But you know what? When you start, the paychecks start coming in and you start to feel independent, you get your own place and all that, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, all right. Have a great one, dude.
Thank you, too.
That was fun. Oh, yeah, that was pretty fun. We talked for a long time. We had 2 conversations. Yeah,